I feel that it's unfortunate that we live in a world where one bad performance discredits a person so much. Stipe has beat everyone. I mean, Junior Dos Santos, Francis Ngannou, Daniel Cormier, some of the biggest names. Many champions he's defeated, and I feel like I'm wise enough to know that one bad night doesn't make a man or break a man. And Stipe is every bit of worthy as my opponent. It's not easy winning championships back to back,
Yep.
especially in the heavyweight division. And what he's done is truly special. And I just want to give the man his opportunity. I know fighting me for a lot of athletes is a really big deal. And if anyone deserves to be in there with me, it's Stipe Miocic. But what it shows me is our boss's loyalty to his athletes. I mean, Stipe Miocic versus Francis back in the day, I mean, it had the whole world excited of like, how would this firefighter, right, what people like to call him, how would this 240-pound athlete go up a guy like Francis, this larger-than-life character? And they gave us a great, a little saga or whatnot, you want to call it. Dana White doesn't forget that, I believe guys like Stipe and we helped take the UFC to a new level. And just because we've been on for a while doesn't mean we're not great athletes and we don't have strong fan bases. We don't have MMA historians who, I shouldn't call it historians, but longtime MMA fans who always question what would happen with Jon and Stipe. I'm 37 years old and I am not a person to be counted out. And at 42, I don't believe Stipe is a person to be counted out. Styles makes matchups, and for the real long-term MMA fans who grew up watching both Stipe and I compete, I think this fight is always going to be intriguing to them. Well, his inactivity, I try not to pay much attention to that. I mean, I took off 3 years and I came back and I beat one of the most mystical creatures that the UFC has seen in a while, in Cyril Gane. I mean, no one could stop him. And myself, as a much older fighter, I came back and destroyed him. I'm also a big fan of our military, and a lot of these instructors are in their late 40s. Mm-hmm. And every year, these young recruits come around, and these men who are much older than them run laps around these boys. So I'm not naive enough to believe that age plays that huge of a factor.
Okay.
There's a lot of 20-year-olds that I can whoop their ass right now.
Yes.
So, yeah. So age isn't a really big thing. The way that I deal with the fact that Stipe doesn't have a lot of, I guess, recent footage is I go back and I watch him from when he was in his absolute prime. I watch him from his 20s, and then I watch him in his mid-20s, and his 30s, and his 40s, and that's the way I do it. I just look at the data that's presented to me, and I see the progression in some aspects, and I see the degression in some aspects, and I come up with what I think the formula to winning will be, and that's the plan.
Tom Aspinall's the guy that people want to see you fight, right? So here's the question. You're fighting Stipe Miocic, and I know you're focused on that fight. If you defeat him, as you're a 6-1 favorite to win the fight, if you defeat him, will you defend your belt against Aspinall, who has the interim title?
More than likely not. I feel like Tom Aspinall is, I don't want to say nobody, but he just hasn't proven anything. He hasn't done anything. And I understand that. I mean, he won his belt against Sergey. Sergey just got slaughtered by someone else. So it's just like, I'm not here to gamble someone else making a name off of me. I'm here to compete against the guys where when we look back, 10 years from now, it'd be like Jon Jones fought this guy and that guy and this legend and this champion and this champion. If there were to be a fight of a guy that's still on our UFC roster that would be not only financially worth it, but legacy worth it, it would be Alex Pereira. We're both 37 years old. Right now, I weigh about 235. I'm an incredibly light heavyweight. I think Pereira walks around at 240. And I think that fight would go much farther on my legacy than a young man who's cool today and maybe gone tomorrow. I remember a time when the whole world thought Johnny Walker was going to be the guy to beat me. And no disrespect for Johnny Walker, but I mean, we all have seen the way his career has played out. I've just been here too long to get all excited about someone who's hot today. I'm here for legacy. I've been gambling for way too long to just take random fights.
I know that you've heard Dana for the last 6 or 8 months. Jon Jones is the greatest pound for pound fighter in the world. Why does that mean so much to you?
It's just an honor. That's all. It's just a huge honor to even be considered at 37 years old, one of the most well-rounded winners in our sport still. It's a huge honor, and I'm just very grateful that my boss, a man who set front row for every fight, for all of our fights, for him to say, hey, listen, guys, trust me. I know what I'm watching. I know what I'm looking at. And in my opinion, if Jon was the same size as a lot of these other guys, Jon would be in the mix. I think we have a lot of new fans, a lot of younger fans who, our sport can be very, what have you done for me lately? And I think Dana is doing a great job of saying, hey, let's wait a minute. Let's remember what this guy's done.
Right.
And I'm grateful. I'm grateful that he's not allowing the naysayers or some of the fans to just push me to the side, because I have done a tremendous amount of work for this company, and I've done it at a very young age, and I did it at very middle age, and I'm doing it at a late age now, and I'm just grateful to be recognized.